Today I decided to work on the foundation. I have had a lot of thoughts over the past 2.5 years about this thing, and is the hardest thing to tackle. So I have to take it a piece at a time, very methodical about my research, about who I talk to. I think I'm at a point, though, I realized a couple days ago, that I can go forward with some certain things that I feel confident in. Talk to my neighbor. He has similar foundation problems, but he has a different foundation where it's not the cinder block, but it's the brick, kind of like ceramic brick that's brown, that kind of looks like cinder block. I don't know what you call it, but he has that, and he says it's a nightmare to try to keep the basement, from not flooding and collecting water in those things, and you can't really adjust them, he said, or you can't really reinforce it because it just breaks, and you just pretty much have to replace it. And he was telling me that my brick foundation is, as much as it crumbles and stuff like that, the bricks fall off, whatever. He said it's a better condition than his. So I can't imagine that. But I try to narrow it down with this foundation. I'm going to go through with you methodically about it, because not only that this is the most important thing of the house, but it gets confusing if you're watching it on a video and you're not able to see details and get orientation of where things are at and stuff. So I know it's hard. And also I have to explain that I'm working on my garage, but when I don't have materials or when I don't have enough knowledge to do it, I have to put it on pause. During that time, I work on something else around the house. So that's the reason why I jump from project to project. It's way more efficient that way. So some people have expressed some frustration about that, but this is what helped me understand my foundation a little bit. And I got a comment from someone, I can't remember who it was, and I can't find it, but they said that like a bungalow house, it's the weight-bearing walls are pretty much the side, just the sides. I don't know if you can see this. This is the best image I can get of the overhead of my house. And then my that same commenter modified his comment and said that it's pretty much runs along, whatever you call it, the attic goes. And this is making more sense to me now. So I appreciate those comments. So this is my house here. I know it's kind of blurry. I'll try to zoom in. And this is the neighbor's house. So it's pretty much just a square. But the confusing thing is the weight-bearing walls are just along the area of the attic. And that's what I'm starting to understand. At least the most important foundation is going to be along those walls. So it helped me narrow down exactly where I need to concentrate on reinforcing, even under the house and stuff. But especially on the edges, on the very side walls of the foundation. So I discovered, let me see if I could zoom in a little better. I try to make this one a little better. It's still kind of pixely. But there's these, so overall it's just a square, but there's these little parts right here and right here that are, this was the sunroom before, just kind of a porch area, and they put in walls later to make it extend the house a little bit. Same here, like this used to be the outside of the house, and this was probably like a cellar or something where the dungeon is, but they built that, extended that into a room, and that's where my bathroom laundry room is right now. So these little parts right here and down here are not as important as the weight-bearing walls
on the sides of the house. So this part of the wall I'll concentrate on, and this part of the wall I need to concentrate on. The rest of the house is okay because this whole west side of the house has already been redone, and I'll show you real footage of that. But this has all been redone, and the rest of it doesn't have a lot of weight on it, or it doesn't have a weight-bearing wall over it. So you can see where the roof is. I was trying to point out that just where this attic is where the weight-bearing walls are, and that makes sense. So just on either side of that, and then along the lines, along where it goes into the house, and that way. So that's where I'm going to concentrate on. There's a weight-bearing wall, and then just below that is where I'm going to concentrate my attention on in reinforcing. And this is just the addition here of the cellar room. You can see where the outside of the house was, or it used to be, right there. This little pantry thing was added upon later, and I'll go through that later. This doesn't have a deep enough foundation, so it's pulling on the side of the house as it kind of sinks a little bit. So I'll explain that later, but I'll have to reinforce that later. I told you that the foundation all along this side has been redone, so I don't have to worry about any of that. So this, as I have gone through this on my head for the past 2.5 years, I've had to understand what's going on with this. And this is also, I can't really tell if that's been redone or not. It kind of looks like they patched it up on the side or something. And then here's the sunroom that I was telling you about. So there's the sunroom where they kind of extended it, so it's an addition to the house and a livable space. But that's not necessarily a huge concern for a weight-bearing wall. I mean, I'm just going to worry about where the attic goes. And so I'm not going to worry about this that much. So really it just narrows it down quite a bit. And since this is a small house anyway, I don't have a whole lot to be concerned about. In fact, this is really encouraging even just looking at it now. This part of the wall going that way actually looks like it's had some work done on it, and I didn't realize that. So extending along over here is the other part of that wall, the rest of it. And as I look at it, it still looks like it's been covered up with some additional concrete. That is actually very encouraging to see it. So what I'm going to do is, I know it's hard to orient yourself in a video, but I'm going to cut over to the inside of the house and what it looks like. Okay, this is the inside of the house directly on the other side. And so I'm going to show you what it looks like inside. And hopefully you can see in there, but I know it looks pretty bad as far as like bricks coming off and stuff. But I have ideas on how to reinforce that. As I take out this floor and replace it, I'll be able to access this inside. The main part of this house that I was concerned about was this side of the house. So it is encouraging that I have access to it. Don't have to dig anything out, and it's going to be a lot less work than I was thinking. And all these thoughts of encouragement was coming just a couple days ago as I was thinking about it. And then I suddenly got a rush of ideas and some drive and motivation to do it. So I take that as encouragement from God and a little bit of revelation in there, because I didn't really have any ideas before until this point, and it took a lot of work and research in doing it, getting ideas and whatever, but I feel like I have at least something to go off of to start out, so I don't feel so overwhelmed. And I feel excited because there's some hope that this can be done with not a lot of money and just me working on it. And I might get some help from some other people with things that I can't do on my own. But let's see if I can show you the dungeon area. So this is the attic area, and this is that weight-bearing wall on the outside. This is the other little section of the house that I was going to concentrate on underneath on the foundation. So it is a challenge, but it is encouraging knowing I could access it. So I'm going to jump down here. Alright, so it's going to be a little dark, but so you can tell here's where they replaced some of this wall with cinder block, and I don't know if I try to reinforce this part of the wall that I would have to extend on what they worked on, or just have to completely redo it. So it is horrible looking. I do have ideas though, and you could see where they just kind of jammed some bricks in there temporarily, and then down here you could see where a lot of the brick has fallen off. So it gets confusing a little bit down here, but it's getting more comprehensible, and I'll be able to access all of this stuff. So not too bad, not too bad. Little part of the foundation here, maybe the footing right there. Never really noticed that before. I'll have to look at it. That might be the footing, so I don't know if they added that or if that's the original footing. So I'll have to concentrate on this part later. Then the rest of this foundation of this little dungeon area is just for this crawl space. Doesn't have anything to do with the foundation really. It's just this little square space. But now you can start seeing where people have put some supports. I've explained this in videos before, but I'm just kind of covering everything now. So this is a support somebody put in, and it's not doing much now. Helps me understand where to go to reinforce everything. And then this is actually right under the attic roof, so I know this is a weight-bearing wall right here. just where all that brick is kind of coming off. But luckily I have access to it, and I have some plans to be able to reinforce that. And of course that part right there is going to need some reinforcing, and you can see how they just kind of wedged in some supports there. You know, as inexperienced as I am, you know, I can't really go wrong with improving what's here. And this little section right here too, they patched it with some cement. I don't even know how strong that's going to be. But it is encouraging knowing that I do have access to all of this stuff. It would be a nightmare if I had to like try to dig all around the outside of the house, get deep enough and try to replace the foundation. And I keep going through this in my head of decision making, if this is worth it or not. And it does get overwhelming about, you know, with all this stuff, but let me get out of this hole first before I fall. So it does get overwhelming when I try to think about it and solve it, but I just kind of have to take it a day at a time, get more information, talk to people. You know, on something like this, it's worth taking time to do, to try to figure out. So, needless to say, I'm going to be pulling this floor up and then accessing this whole side foundation. Then I'll have access to all of these floor joists. I know one of them's broken down there, and then there's some that are sagging, so looks like a lot of work right now, but it's actually a lot better than I was thinking originally. And so there is light at the end of the tunnel. That's how I felt the other day. And then I told you I was going to get back to talking about this. So this is something I know I can do. And this is something they stacked up and with boards and stuff. It is solid enough that I could stand on it, but I mean, there are bricks underneath there that they tried to stack up. Oh wow. But one positive thing is that there's been enough weight on here for a while that the ground underneath is going to be packed, and that's kind of what you want. You want to preserve that packed soil, so that you could put something else on there and you know it's not going to settle that much later. So I know that's a good packed area that I could utilize. And then I'm going to put in one of those big thick telephone poles that I've got, and it's going to replace that. It'll look a lot nicer, and it'll be a lot stronger and sturdy than that. So this is something I know I can do. And little, you know, posts like this I could easily replace with my big thick telephone poles. Same with everything else that I see that needs support. This original brick pillar here, it looks pretty solid. I've tapped on it before, and so I'm not going to touch this. What I'm going to do is add some more supports along the way, like those telephone poles. Try to get it packed down and support it all the way across this. This is not a weight-bearing wall, part of it, but it seems like a probably a main support beam right here for the middle of the floor. So they probably attached the
subfloor or the floor joist right to this area. So even though it's not a weight bearing wall, it's probably is just the same as, I'll treat it just the same as a weight bearing beam, and I'll just put supports right under there. And this is the part of the wall that was redone already. So I've always had thoughts of just considering just tearing this place down, but this is encouraging. I think I could still, as overwhelming as it felt before, I think I could still go forward and just do it a piece at a time. I feel like I have at least enough knowledge to go forward with these things that I know I can do. So I hope this video was helpful. I don't know if you're going to be going through this in the future, or some of you are going through it now, but I just wanted to share all these things in case you run into these things. If you buy an old house, you know what to look out for, and know that you can do something, or that you could have some wealth of ideas to draw from to fix up your house. Also, we're going through some troubled times. I'm going to have to make sure I preserve all of the materials here and recycle them and put them back into the building materials, because building prices and everything has gone up, so I have to make sure I reutilize a lot of this stuff.